Right, hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new video. Now, the video I'm doing now really contrasts from the one I did earlier today. The one I did earlier today was a rom-com with Bill Murray and Scarlett Johansson, and this one is probably the most messed up film ever, and it's Audition. It's Japanese 1999 horror directed by the same guy who did Ichi the Killer, which is also a weird film. But this one just is ridiculous. If you've ever seen Audition, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you haven't, you've probably heard of one scene in it particular, which is the torture scene at the end. If you haven't heard of it at all, go and watch it, and it will literally, you'll have no idea what's going on apart from 10 minutes right at the end. And it's probably the most grueling 10 minutes ever. It's so horrific, this film. And the best thing about this film is it isn't straight up horror. It doesn't start off horror. It only gets horror about halfway through, and it's kind of like a psychological drama, and then like a really grueling horror at the same time. So the film is about this guy. He's a really nice guy as well. When I read what the film was about, I already knew the twist with what she is and stuff. This is gonna be a spoiler review, by the way. I thought this guy would be like a proper jerk, like the main guy, and that you kind of sympathise with her for what she's doing. No, this guy's like a really nice guy. He's at the lowest point of his life. His wife's just died, and his son is distraught as well. And it shows him then, like, I don't know, 15 years later, they're both kind of recovered, but he's still kind of down in the dumps, if you get what I mean. And then his son's like, why don't you go and try and find another wife? So he holds this audition where it's for a movie at the same time, and he's kind of like, he isn't a bad guy, he's a nice guy, you kind of like him. He's a good relationship with his son, he's funny, and he is like a really cool guy. He's a nice guy as well. So when you start seeing everything go down, it's so much worse because of how high is it his life. Because it goes, he meets this girl, and she's like perfect for him, and he reaches up here, and then it just shoots down so fast, but at the same time so well done. It's just tension. It's building tension all the time, and it's like unsuspecting. And then you're like, right, okay, there's some things that don't add up. This girl's a bit weird. What's going on? Why is she sawing his leg off with a piano wire? That is basically how I could describe this film to you. It is so good building the tension and its pace as well. It isn't a slow film. It's 2 hours long. It never got boring. But nothing actiony really happens or horrible until like the last 10 minutes. So it's just this guy, and it's like him. It's like a love story in his eyes and a torture film in her eyes, and it goes up. It gets to that point. And then he meets. It all just goes down. I don't want to give too much away, but if you've heard about this film, you will know of it because of one scene in particular, and that is the torture scene at the end with the piano wire. And it is by far the most disturbing torture scene, or a scene ever, I'd say, because of the sound effects. Now, I watched this video ages ago by game film theorists, and it was about how it was one of those like frame by frame videos. It's about how J-horror like is scarier than American horror, and he said one of the main reasons is by sound effects and how they kind of stick with you. This has got like the most horrific sound effect ever, and it's just the noise of the piano wire. Now, I'd seen the scene before, or little snippets of it, and I saw that part with the piano wire where she's like laughing while she's doing it. But then it isn't comedic at all. It's really, really dark. And then the worst part is when she finally cuts through the bone, it kind of like no, it doesn't snap, but it like pulls up, and it makes this horrible like bang noise, and it's like, oh, it's so disturbing. It's not like Saw where it keeps cutting away. You full on see it all, and it's the sound effect with the acting and the situation he's in, and the fact that he just went from so high in his life and you really like this guy, and now he's like at the lowest point ever, with his foot getting sawed off by a piano wire by some maniac with a syringe. It's such a great horror movie. If you haven't seen it, definitely watch Audition. It's also got a really good soundtrack as well. I noticed, like, really, he used that one where this guy starts, I think he starts like screaming, and then the music kind of changes with the scream. So he screams and then it kind of fades out into the music, and the way he did that was really good. It had like that I can't remember what it's called, like the bee or something. It's like a bumblebee thing, and I think that's the name of the song, Bumblebee or something. It's like that horrible horror music noise that they always have. This one did it really well, and the music was like, went from so peaceful to just so dark, and it was really, really well done. If you haven't seen this film, definitely watch it. There's another horror film I'll be reviewing soon, a South Korean one called The Wailing, and the guy who, not the main guy, but the other main guy, who does the audition as well, he is in The Wailing, and I knew that I saw him from somewhere. I didn't know until I looked up the cast and I saw him. I was like, oh right, it's the Japanese guy from The Wailing. So yeah, definitely watch Audition, or just watch the scene. But the scene's so much more effective if you know what happened in the film and you know like how it all goes up and then just goes straight down. So definitely check out the Audition, in 1999. Yeah, that's my review of Audition. I don't know if I'll be doing Dazed and Confused today. I'll definitely be doing it as my next review. But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe for more reviews, and I will see you guys in the next video.